everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaley Gray, and I'm super excited to have content creator Maddie Cheatham here with me. And she is a Tulsa native, and yeah, we're going to talk about dreams. We're still in the dream series, and also my air went out right before Maddie came over. So we are doing this in 80-degree heat, and it's like 90 degrees outside. So
we're gonna do it.
This is gonna be a vlog to remember. So I'm super excited. And so Maddie, just a little bit about you, because you just got married.
Yes, just got married.
And you've lived in Tulsa your whole life, right?
Yes, basically my entire life. I went to college outside of Oklahoma City and moved to Huntington Beach, California for a year after college, but then I moved back to Oklahoma, and then I've been in Tulsa, I guess, basically for like 20 years of my life.
That's so awesome. I love that. Yeah. And I started following you on social media, so Wonderfully Maddie, which I love, and then you also have your Shooting Star social.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit more about that because it has to do with your dream. But because you always do about Tulsa, like what's going on in Tulsa, and so it's great for somebody who didn't grow up in Tulsa to know kind of what's going on, what to do, and so she always has that, and so that's how I started following her, and so super excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so have you always been a dreamer?
Yes, always been a dreamer. My dance coach when I was 5, she was like, she called, I don't remember the name she called me, but it was not nice, but she was basically talking about how I was daydreaming all the time and my head was in the clouds. So I think I've always been
been a dreamer.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so what is like a risk? And it was fun to kind of get to talk and hear more about your story, but what's a risk that you had to take for a dream, and was it worth it?
Yeah. So I feel like I could go 2 ways with this, but I'll go my business side. All of my life, I've only wanted to be a mom and a wife, and then a volleyball coach. Like that's all I ever wanted to be. I grew up playing volleyball, played it in college, and then coached and taught after high school, and was deep in it, was finally a head coach in 2019, 2020, and I felt strongly when I was at a worship night, and I had felt this coming, but I didn't think it was happening this soon, but I had felt very strongly. I remember the song, and my former last name is Star, so you can do without what you will, but my head in the clouds, that makes sense, you know, star looking in the sky. But that night they were singing "If the Stars Were Made to Worship, So Will I," and I heard God pretty audibly say, it's time to quit coaching. And I sat on the ground, literally had a tantrum, probably for like 5 minutes I had a tantrum. And then I had all this peace, and I was like, okay, well that makes sense.
Because it was almost like you were finally at your position of the dream you've always dreamed of.
Right.
But God was giving you a
without
new
the
dream.
wife and the mom part.
Well, yeah. But
still single.
Yeah. So, but he kind of shifted the dream.
Yeah.
Once you got there.
Yeah, and I had told her before this, but like the whole time, probably most of my life, I've been ahead of the game on social media. Like MySpace comes out, I tell everyone about it. Facebook came out, I told everyone. Instagram, I told everyone how cool it was gonna be. So I've been on all these social media platforms since the beginning, and I'm a connector, so I just love the connecting aspect. And so I had always had this like, I wanna be an influencer, which now I think every kid experiences that now, but back then I feel like it wasn't as huge. And so I had felt this like, I wanna be an influencer thing this whole time, and so I even like almost created a brand, but I didn't go through with it because I was just like so scared. But when he asked me to stop coaching, I mean obviously praise the Lord that 2020 happened, because actually was really sick in that time. It was like I had the flu twice. I was working with elementary kids, and like and it probably was COVID. And so the school shut down. I didn't have to quit. I got paid through the rest of the year, and I just didn't go back to coaching. And I just, actually, my friend approached me, who I went to high school with, and she was like, hey, do you need a job? I was like, yeah. So I started working at a brewery downtown Tulsa.
Wow.
So funny, just bartending, but like getting paid well through the pandemic and through everything while I was sitting and being obedient and just praying like, God, what do you want me to do? And it's just so weird. Sorry, I'm going into
No, I love it. I love it.
It's so weird because people will ask me to come coach now, and there's just not a release over it. Like I cannot, like if I said yes, things would go wrong in my life. I can just feel it. Like there's not a covering for it. So anyways, in July of 2021, that year I had been like posting every month these monthly reels, and like TikTok had become really big. So content creating was a thing, and was like actually becoming a career for people. And I had gained like 25,000 followers on TikTok at that time. So I was like, you know, creating content already. And I had seen this company doing wedding content creation in Arizona. Came across my page, and I was like, their stuff's not that good, and I could do a really good job. And I love love.
Yeah.
Like I could do a really good job with this. And why wouldn't a bride want coverage of their wedding day, and they can see the whole thing the next day? So I pitched it to my friends, and I was like, you guys, should I do this? Because I think I could charge, you know, a pretty penny for this and like make money, and this could be great. And they were like, Maddie, this is it. Like we all just felt like it was time. And luckily I had that next weekend, I had my friend's bridal shower, and I was like, hey, can I cover your bridal shower for you and use it to launch my business? She was like, yeah, for sure. So used that, and then did her wedding for free, and her TikToks and Reels blew up. So then my business launched from there, and it was just, it felt like if I didn't do it now, I don't know. Like God was like, this is it. This is your time.
I feel like he just like aligned all the doors and everything to open up, and like a time where like so many people were just like in despair and like wondering like, oh, what should we do with our life? Like he was like launching you, like you were like ready like for it.
Yeah. And it was that obedience. It was just like sitting and waiting on, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do?
Yeah. And I think a lot of times too, like asking him, like, what am I supposed to do? And stuff. Like you have multiple dreams in your heart, but like which one right now am I supposed to go after? So
and the mom and the wife thing was just like not in the picture. And I'm like, where are these? Which I know you talk about dating stuff, but it's hard out here in the streets. Like they just do not pursue, and it is very weird, especially even in the Christian community. You're like, why is no one asking anyone out? So it was hard. Disheartening.
And then okay, so you have your business going. Like how have you balanced everything? Because maybe like talk a little bit about it, like kind of like work-life balance, dream life balance as a single, but then also moved into marriage.
I think I'm not that great at it. Okay. I'll be honest. I'm not great at I've never been great at the mundane things in life. Like it just doesn't excite me. It feels like I'm an Enneagram 7 sometimes, but I'd rather be with people over like doing the laundry or making my bed or like making my place feel all homey. Like I'd rather just be out and do things. So I don't feel like I've ever been really great at it. But so luckily as a single woman, I balance it okay. But as a married woman and like a dating woman, my husband compliments me really well, and he helps me with the like back end of stuff of like, okay, this is so worth it because if you do this stuff, we can grow. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like I thought I could just grow by my personality and like being nice to people and showing off my work. And he's like, yeah, but you can't, run a successful business if you're not doing this back end stuff. So, I'm honestly not that great at it.
I mean, I used to think that I had control in my life, but just recently I feel like I've just been on the struggle bus with like so many things. And I think too, with that, at least for me, because I'm an Enneagram 1, I have to give myself grace and like just know not everything's gonna be perfect, or if I'm not posting, or if I'm not doing something, if something's not clean around the house, I have to give myself grace to know it's okay. And you know, I want, at least when I'm pursuing my dream, like I want to be joyful in it. I don't want it to become a burden. And so I've just learned just to kind of not almost be led by emotions, but kind of a little bit, just like to have that grace. And I know for me, I've noticed like in the mornings, like early mornings, that's sometimes my best like content creation or like thinking. Like, do you have like scheduled times, or do you like? No, I'm not great at that either. Do you just like details are hard? So do you just do it like whenever, like when you create? That's awesome. Yeah, for the most part, I feel more energized afternoon. Okay. So normally my afternoon times I'm like normally creating. In the morning I'm like still not alive. Not a morning person. I'm a night owl. I love it. So like mid-afternoon I'm like, okay, I've had coffee, I've eaten, like I'm ready to go, you know? So those, my afternoons are normally my creating content, and then my meetings are normally in the morning. In the morning? Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. I mean, and I think it's so good, like based on your personality, you have to do that, because I think a lot of times, like especially when you're working somewhere, you know, it's like that 8 to 5 time, but it's nice when you do kind of do something on your own, you can kind of figure out what it is that you work best in, and then you can kind of like determine what that is. I love that. Okay. What is something you have learned from chasing a dream? Honestly, I would say just go for it. Like, I think that's what I've learned is if you're living out of fear, then like someone else is gonna take the dream and run with it. You know what I mean? With my influencing Wonderfully Maddie, which, do you know why it's Wonderfully Maddie? No, okay. I would love to know. It's, I praise you, God, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes. Okay. So I just made it. I love that. I love it even more now. That's so cool. So now people, whenever people call me like Wonderfully Maddie, I'm like, yeah, you're confessing that over me. Thank you so much. Like, I love that. People have no idea that they're saying that, and they probably, you know, 1 out of 5 people understand it. So. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. So when I started doing This Weekend in Tulsa, I think it's been like almost exactly a year of me doing this. I had 4,000 followers January of last year, and I have 18.3 today, which like is a very hard, my friends were talking about that last night. They're like, you've unlocked this code to Instagram. And I'm like, honestly, no. Like, I just found something, and I would say like it's the Lord, but I just found something that is easily shareable and easily attainable. Like, people can easily come to my page for the specific thing all the time, and I don't feel like I'm incredible at it. Like, I think there's a lot more that I could do, and there's a lot more organization I could have, but I started it on my notes app, and I just had this vision for a long time about it, and I made the decision to just go for it, and then I posted it from my notes app, screenshots, that's it. And it's blown up since then. So again, like every time someone asks me about dreaming or creating the business or whatever, I just say, just do it. Like, stop trying to make it perfect. It's not gonna be perfect from the beginning. I don't have all the money in the world to get a graphic designer and do a photography session for my brand. Like, I don't have it right now, you know? So I just do with what you can, and people will come, you know, especially if it's a God dream. And I think too, you do it with so much joy and passion. And I think when there's joy and passion behind what you're doing, you're right. Like, of course you want a form of excellence, but I think you can tell the heart behind the post. So I think that's what also brings so many people to it. So I love that. That is so amazing. Okay, my last question is like, why do you think it's important to dream? Because that's what I've loved about doing this series is there's been so many people, they don't know like what to dream or how to dream or if it's important, and why do you think it's important for someone to dream?
I don't know, I'm getting a little teary-eyed. I don't know why, because I don't know exactly what I'm gonna say. I've always been a dreamer. Like, I've always been too sensitive or too vulnerable or too open or whatever. But I've always, you know, as a little girl, you like imagine things, you know, your Barbie's playing, or like, I think every single girl probably has gone through this, like, they go to bed and then they have to dream about their perfect life, you know what I mean, and their perfect husband, and like what it'll look like that happens. I used to have to do that to go to sleep and like dream good things. And I still try to do that now. I'm like, what am I gonna dream about? I need it to be good. But I think now being married has opened my eyes more to how great it is to be a dreamer, because my husband is very XYZ, like, this is how it is. This is my 5-year plan. This is how life goes. I've got it all laid out, and I'm over here like, I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You know, I could not be here tomorrow, and I could be, but I do know that the Lord, you know, has a plan for me, and it's gonna be great no matter what. And I think it's brought him so much faith, because there's like this aspect of trusting. And I think as true dreamers, we're true trusters in the Lord. Like, there is a lot more grace. And I read this book, I can't remember what it's called right now, but I read this book when it talks about when you're growing up, there's 2 types of people. If you're going to the church, there's 2 types of people, okay? There's people that see the Lord as king, like ruler over their life. This is how things work. There's people that see the Lord as Father. And that's how I've always viewed him. He's my father, and probably like kudos to my dad for taking care of me really well. That's probably a reason why I see him that way, because my dad was a nurturer versus like XYZ, which my husband's dad is from the military, so that makes sense. Like this is how it is, and I respect both aspects 1000%, because I didn't fully understand the king aspect, because I'm like, ruler, like, I mean, we look in the Old Testament, he's smiting down people, and you know, and I'm like, I don't know this dude, like, you know, makes me lie down in green pastures, and like, I'm just cuddling up with him, he's cool. But we need both. And so I think as a dreamer, I viewed him as a father, and there's just this trust that we put in him, like this just undeniable trust. And I think the Lord really honors that in dreamers, because he knows we're just going to take the steps versus being scared about the repercussions. You know what I mean? Like, what else could happen? Instead, we're just like stepping out on the water with him. You know what I mean? I've always felt like the Holy Spirit and I are like, because I mean, he just ebbs and flows. You know? So I hope that answers the question.
I love that. And I love how you said trust, because I don't know if I've ever thought of that. Like, being a dreamer is also being like trusting God. But it is so true. I've had to trust him in every step that I've taken in doing something. And it's kind of like Peter, like stepping out on the water, like trusting him to go. Or it's even like the analogy of like, you know, you're taking the dream and like, you're gonna go up that stair, but you don't know what's at the top of the staircase, but you're just gonna take that first step. And so I love that. And I think it's so important to trust and just to take that first step, because you never know where it's gonna lead. And so, and it might shift, it might change, but I truly believe that every step you take, as long as you are listening to the Holy Spirit and, you know, with Jesus, going along the path, and you know that this is what God has called you to do, that he's going to lead you to the right way. And the right people too. It sounds like you've had the right people, the right connections, and things like that. And
I would say, like, I mean, my life has not been easy, and but I do feel like, because I was raised in a foundation, but also because I've been a dreamer, like, I in high school and picking a college I want to go play volleyball at. And I felt so strongly I'm supposed to go to this certain school. Made the decision, committed, and honestly, worst 4 years of my life. But I knew the entire time I was supposed to be there. And it's this weird, like, I dreamt of being at this place. God gave me peace. It was still turmoil, anxiety, all this stuff. But I came out strong, and I came out the best volleyball coach I could be because I knew what I didn't want and what I did want. And she gave me a lot of those good, you know, foundations. But then I also came out and I was like, well, I want to coach out of love and, you know, different aspects. So I think it's not easy being a dreamer still. Like there's decisions that put you in hardships, but I also think they also lead you to like things that you could have never even asked for or imagined just because you trust and take the step. Yeah. So really fun being a dreamer, I think.
I love it. I am so thankful. You know, I haven't always been a dreamer, but I love that God has just continued to allow me to dream and kind of like we've just been on this journey of dreaming. And so that's why I really hope this dream series inspires you to dream, just to take that step. And thank you so much, Maddie. This was so fun. I might have to have you come back on sometime and we can talk about relationship advice and kind of talk about that.
Yeah, because a year ago, I was not in a relationship. Dating.
Because was he your friend?
Yeah, he was my friend.
Okay.
We went to college together. We've known each other for 11 years.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think we definitely need to have you come back on and share. That would be so awesome. Yeah. Well, I will have all of Maddie's socials and everything for you to connect with her. Who knows, you might need her to shoot your wedding.
Yeah.
I love that. That would be so fun. All right, you guys, so great seeing you, and I will see you next time.